Who's going, who we have Patrick talking and who else?
I don't know. I'll get it rolling.
So yours, which one?
Mine?
Go to micro ruling.
You want to do yours first? Go first.
You want to start? Oh, I'll start.
Outstanding.
And then we will just, that's gonna go to the board, because one makes a motion, one second, all in favor. If you want to move
If it's got to be unanimous. though. Is that something you and I
6:30?
disagree on something? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started at 6:30. We're going to start the Economic Development and Marketing Committee. I'd like to consider the approval of the minutes of the regular Economic Development and Marketing Committee held on February 27th, 2018.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2, item number 3, discuss the Oak Park Avenue Playbook Grant Program. Patrick, do you want to elaborate? There's a lot in there.
Yes, I can elaborate. How much-
5 whole parts, are you
5
know?
grants. I can,
Is there any budget issues on it, or do we have the money to do it, or?
yeah, that's been budgeted. We've got 350,000's been budgeted, and as we go through the slides, I'll show how much has been allocated for each one. But this program,
Just make sure they can see.
Oh.
Can you guys see
Yeah,
the
not
slides?
right now.
Can you see the slides?
No.
I've got
We
nothing.
have this, though.
Oh,
No, because we didn't sign. Here, let me sign it on real quick.
You just sign on one, will you?
we should turn one of the screens around.
Come
a
sit at the
break.
table. You wanna come sit at
We
the
could do that.
Let's sit table.
You want to sit at the
Sorry
table?
about that, guys.
That's all right.
They moved around. So is it on now? No, it's not.
We'll come down.
You're not-
no,
it's
they're
not
gonna
down.
they're gonna come down here. so I can
That
see.
way we could see the screen.
Sorry about that, guys.
Pat's gonna think we left it.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Okay. So this is the Oak Park Playbook Grant Program, and this meets 5 of the goals in the strategic plan. It's 2 the short-term complex, 2 short-term routine, and 1 long-term complex. This started actually close to a year ago. It's hard to believe it's already been a year, but back in June of 2017, Mayor Vandenberg asked if we could come up with some different tactics to help develop downtown and fill the vacancies. So we worked with the Economic Commercial Commission, the Main Street Commission, and also received a lot of feedback from this committee, Economic Development and Marketing Committee, back and forth, just going over 5 separate grants. Tonight we'll tap into those grants. Start off with the sign grants. What we have here is a matching $5,000 grant program, up to, I should say, it doesn't have to go all the way to $5,000. But as you can see in the lower left-hand corner, this is $55,000 has been allocated in the budget right now, so up to $5,000 each. So in theory, we could do 11 new signs in downtown. And the goal of the sign grant originally was to try to replace some of the monument signs that are on the ground that are kind of hard to see around with the cars, and replace them with the more walkable, friendly signs that you see, like the pharmacy one that's currently downtown. The next one we have is the facade grants. This is a current program that we do have. We wanted to revamp it and have some guidelines, which is something Paul will go over a little bit later. Currently allocated is $70,000, so we could, in theory, do up to 2 of these. But the goal of the facade improvement program is to reshape some of the buildings that might be a little bit tired. And the next one is in very high demand. We have a lot of people that look at some of the areas downtown and they're ready to go in until they realize how much work needs to be done when it comes to code compliance. So this grant is supposed to help offset that, to try to fill some of our vacancies. And this one we're doing $140,000, matching up to $35,000 each. Also, as a side note, we have decided that you can combine some of these, but it has to be maxed out at $70,000.
Do we know how much it costs to sprinkle a building, like on average?
On average, they did that, I want to say it was close to 70, so we're trying to pick up half of
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Depending on the size. The other one is the retail grant, and this one specifically came about just because of the struggle that we have really with Springfort Hall. It's a very nice space, but we've been having trouble getting people in there. So the theory is if we had a retail grant for the right retailer, we could help them build up the interior walls. And so this one is another $35,000 grant. And in theory, you could do 2 of them with this. And these are only for certain retailers that we'd like to locate downtown, which would match our current retailers, and restaurants, which is more boutique style. And overall, the retail grant, one of the things we put on that is a clawback. The clawback is only on the retail grant because it is really customizing a vacant space for a certain retailer, where the facade grants and the code compliance grant, those are really, the bigger grants are fixing the building up for anybody. So we did follow some guidelines that were recommended to us, where they said 100% of the funds should be returned if they're only open for a year, 75% for 2, and then 50% of the funds if they're only open between 2 and 3 years. And after that is a landscaping grant, and this is just more of a smaller $5,000 grant. That's a beautification initiative, just to try to liven up the drive as you're walking or going down Oak Park Avenue. The process is the same for each one of these grants. It's going to start off probably within not public works, in the community development. We're going to work with them to submit a good grant application, and then we're going to schedule an inspection because we're going to make sure they know what they're getting themselves into, and we can come up with the right funds to assist them. Then it's going to come back in for staff review. Then it'll go in front of our ECC, and then they're going to make a recommendation for you guys. And then the Economic Development and Marketing Committee will make a recommendation for board. Board will get final say, and then we'll go through the building permits obtained, and then we'll verify the work's been done before any payment is received. Also, one of the things that we decided to do was to shrink this and make it more of a pilot program. So instead of it doing in the entire Legacy District, we wanted to focus on just the downtown core and the downtown flex, which is right around the train station, but it also does encompass some of the vacancies that are there. And if it works well, we could possibly expand it further. But right now, we thought this is a good area just to concentrate on the downtown, the center, and the core. And now I'll pass it over to Paula.
Yeah, so to facilitate these programs, the 2 programs, one is the sign program and then the facade program, we've written some design guidelines, and it's true that they're just guidelines rather than hard and fast standards. These are not part of the code at this point, they're just part of these programs, and then will be enforced like a policy. So for the facade program, we really tried to mimic the Legacy Plan's vision, and so those are the same goals that you'll see in the plan and code. And basically, these are probably the primary things we're trying to achieve. The articulation and all that is a fancy word to say that it's not flat. You know, you've got some shadows and bends, and so it provides some interest along the facade, that we do everything we can to avoid architectural monotony. We promote like a built over time aesthetic, so that it doesn't, you know, we're not doing all the same architecture down the street. Even if it's one facade, one building, you can break that up so it looks like various buildings built over time. And again, encourage architectural diversity, which is really just sort of complementing what we already have. We have some really beautiful architecture that we want to preserve and be consistent with that. And these are sort of standard architectural terms and things that we'll look at as staff. We'll look at the articulated cornices that's up along the crown of the building, the A. We'll look at the upper band of windows, make sure the rhythm is appropriate and some consistency and scale. The base cornice and signage area, for example, fortunately I use this example that's no longer there, but it was an excellent example of architecture. Awning placement, you don't want to have awnings over a blank facade. They need to be true awnings over doorway and window openings. And store windows, again, scale and rhythm. You want to have a vertical band on buildings so that it makes sense where the second story and the first floor are in line. And then the kick panel on the bottom. You know, we have a kind of a tradition of 2- and 3-story buildings in the downtown that have that sort of rhythm to them. And then for design for the signs, we really have nothing right now helping us to regulate that. We want to encourage creativity. Some of the Primal Cut, I think, is a good example, but maybe if you had a baker's or a bakery, you would have a baker's hat hanging, something that's indicative of the business that you're trying to advertise. And so we will be looking at projecting signs, trying to encourage those, blade signs as much as possible, wall signs, window signs, freestanding hanging signs, as well as freestanding monument signs. And that's it.
All right, so that takes care of item number 4 as well? Was that everything in there, Paula?
Yes.
Facade program, sign, okay.
Eventually, we do want to get to the point that we're going to do a text amendment to the legacy code, but right now we're doing this to facilitate the playbook.
Very good. I like the older designs myself. I like to keep the downtown quaint. And it looks great.
I think you guys did a real nice job. And the only thing I'm concerned about is how it's divvied up. Is there I mean, there's 70,000 on a couple of them. Could it be 10,000 each, or are you thinking 2 at 35 each? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, as far as the
The
70?
maximum.
Yeah, 70 is the maximum. They
But
can
it could be
combine.
divided up. Okay,
Yeah,
any
however-
number of ways.
Any number of ways.
If
And
somebody
then-
only need, a portion of that.
And they're gonna figure it out at the EOC commission, who gets it and that kind of stuff, so that's fair.
Yes, we'll go over, we'll, as staff, try to direct them the best way possible and then work them through ECC before they come to use us.
So you guys did a real nice job of coming up with what you're looking for, and I mean, you go downtown, there's like some of the brickwork on that, where you go up the steps on that like raised sidewalk over there where tables are. It's, you know, the what do you call it, mortars falling out and stuff. There's a need, and the sprinklers we've been hearing about for years, so.
Yeah.
Nice job of focusing where it's going. And I guess it's gonna go along with this wayfinding thing. The sign stuff kind of be coordinated with our wayfinding.
Well, we do have a wayfinding program,
Right,
but that, I
right.
mean, it's a different program.
But they'll coordinate it probably with it so that it
Yeah,
matches.
they're kind of two different signs. This is private signs
Okay.
to advertise a business versus wayfinding the public.
That's a good question, though.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to look similar?
The only other question I had was on aesthetics. Is there gonna be, I mean, I'd hate to spend village money on like a purple building or something that's not attractive. Is
That's
there-
why we have these.
So just follow the code and we should have something that looks good. I like that. You should come to my house and try to paint the whole color 4 times.
So May 1st, the money's available, right, Patrick? And,
It's in the budget for May 1st, but we need to get it approved and voted on for it to be available to everybody for May 1st. So the recommendation for tonight would be to have you guys recommend it be up for vote on May 1st. And so if it's approved, then we'd be ready to roll.
Yeah, if you can approve it in one reading,
Yeah.
we'd be ready to go May 2nd. If you need 2 readings.
Have you got a lot of applications ready?
There's a lot of people that have inquired about it. We haven't been filling out the applications.
Any ones in particular? Landscape? facade?
Most of them are signs, and then also I think the vacancy, as far as the code complaints, are going to be big. But I
Code
think a lot of people are
complaint, yeah.
asking about the signs.
Now, is that one office complex on 177th and Oak Park with, that's not wheelchair ADA compliant? Is that also included in that or not?
I think that's too far north.
So it won't be in there anymore?
Not in this one, no, not in the corner.
Oh, boy.
But if it works, we could expand it for next year.
I hate to leave them out.
We need the money to the budget though for next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the
I think
TIF
it's
will,
that.
I saw that TIF will possibly subsidize some of it. Is that the plan?
The plan is if we interject regular general fund money now, that'll kickstart it, we'll fill the vacancies, it'll increase increment, then we can use the increment to do it for next year, and so on,
Okay.
until it's all full.
I think it's great. I just hate for that other business to be out. I don't remember the name of those buildings. By the Cousins, their office complex.
Tinley Center.
Tinley Center, yes, that's it. Thank you, Patrick. All right, so I think we could probably move that to the board.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, discuss special event permitting process. Oh, wait a second. Hold on, we skipped one. Item number 5, discuss amending Main Street Commission and Economic Commercial Commission ordinances. We're combining the committees, right?
Right, and this is kind of a pickup from the last conversation we had,
Yeah.
where upon meeting, we came back with a recommendation to essentially merge the 2 commissions into an 11-member commission, and then have 4 associate members. So that's what we're putting before you today.
And these commissions are all appointed by the mayor, is that right? He appoints all commissions. Has he reviewed these individuals who will be on them first, or do we put this forth first?
Well, the
How does this work?
individuals who are on the ECC right now, there are 9. They would retain. There are 3 Main Street commissioners. So at his discretion, they would be added to the list. And then there are 3 people who have expressed interest. So yes, they would be put in front of him for consideration. An appointment, which I think is going to happen again on May 1st. So we do all the reappointments
We'll be right
at
in
the same
time. We'll be right in time.
Well,
So
what-
11-member and 4 associate members. Is that what you can decide on?
Nope, sorry, when you're done, sorry. Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sorry, Donna. So we have 9
9 ECC members.
They're gonna be same 9 folks?
They would be retained, right?
Okay.
We
And then-
have, the Main Street Commission ordinance calls for 7. There are only 3 existing on the commission right now.
Do they want, I mean, so that's 12, I'm counting, and we have 11 spots.
Right. So one would become an associate, and
Do we
then
know-
there are,
Do we know who, I mean,
that would be at the mayor's discretion. I mean, we know who's on there right now, but no, we figured we'd get through this codification or this code ordinance change first, and then we'll,
so is the plan to populate the new, I mean, because we can certainly prepare the ordinance to have it ready for May 1st, but are you gonna have, are all the appointments gonna be ready for next Tuesday?
that's the mayor's choice. If that would be his choice, yes, but I think we start appointing commissioners after May 1st, but I don't know if that date has been determined that it's happening on May 1st.
When would the next regular meeting be after May 1st? I mean, is it that week? Is it second?
Yeah, what is the second?
You're talking about the village board or the
This new commission, what would their
Oh.
meeting date be?
They right now meet on the 3rd Monday of the month, I believe, right? Second Monday.
May 14th.
Sounds like it's gonna be a carryover of the same people, and it'll come to us for advice
Well,
and
it's,
consent.
I mean, there's 12 people for 11 spots. I mean, the 3 that are on, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get the
Main Street
commissions
Commission.
mixed up, but the one that has 3 are 2 of them want to be full-time members, 1 of them want to be an associate. I mean, has that been?
That has not been worked out yet.
Maybe we could let them pick their own, who wants to be full and who wants to be associate, or they may not agree.
What?
You never know what they're.
Well, that's my point. I mean, getting it
Yeah.
ready for Tuesday, you know,
That's kind of short time to them.
yeah. And it's obviously subject to your guys' advice and consent as well. So you will have to vote on it, the appointments. It's not just the mayor's appointment, it's advice and consent.
I'd be happy to reach out to them once you approve. This is just up for discussion right now. If you are comfortable with that, then we can reach out to them and put those names in front of the mayor and get that ready for his time frame.
Well, we could certainly draft the ordinance for your review on the 1st. I just don't know if it's, I don't know the mayor's time frame or however.
to rush
You're
it.
gonna pick your 11, but we could certainly do the ordinance on the 1st, if you'd like.
It's a good starting place. You're
Yeah,
not
let's
just,
do it.
you could always change it
Yeah.
as time goes on too. I mean, we're not married to the number of commissioners, and if there's more interest than there are spots, or less interest than there are spots, we can amend it.
Yeah, you can always,
Yeah.
sure, but for the 1st, if you'd like me, I could draft the combining ordinance, you know, some code cleanup with 11 members and 4 associates, and then we'll see where we're at with the appointments.
I think that'd be great.
Okay? You guys wanna make that move to make that
We'll move to
Do
recommendation?
you need a recommendation,
Draft
or
an ordinance
do you need an
for-
ordinance?
Draft an
Or-
ordinance to combine Main Street and Economic Commercial Commissions.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6, discuss special event permitting process.
Okay, we have not brought this before you before, but I would just like to share with you that we do have this existing, it's a free special event permit. Actually has been in place for probably the better part of the last 10 years and has continued to expand. The initial intention was that it would provide organizations an opportunity to share the events with us so that we're able to pass that out to all of our public safety, all of our operating departments. It also provides the opportunity for organizations to request from the village any assistance they might need with any kind of public safety services, be it, traffic management or barricades and public works assistance or street closures or what have you. And so, actually in 2014, there was an amendment to the code to formalize this permit process and also establish some related fees. So what we are doing right now is we pass along fees to these organizations, and it is a blended rate. We're not exactly passing along all of the village costs, but because that actually is affected by which people come out, obviously based on seniority and that. So we are just bringing before you the next version of the special event permit, and Vicki's here tonight because she was just going to kind of run through the changes to it so that you're aware of it. In that change in 2014, the board does have the option to waive a portion or all of the fees that we use for special events, that we charge for special events. So if you want to just maybe run through the permit that you have in your in your packet, just so you're aware.
Have that.
Since I began about 7 years ago, this permit has taken on multiple versions, edited versions. But the latest one, I always kind of question our departments on how this permit could be made better. And there's, little things on here like having a race start time because we are the 5K capital of Illinois, and just having a definitive start time helps with our traffic control officers and whatnot. As you can see, we have a section for security that's for not only just security but traffic control as well. Public Works has an option as well. The main things that are on here for Public Works are just dropping off barricades. They sometimes do traffic or crowd control fencing, but that's really just for village events or events sponsored by the village. The other stuff is informational, just to make sure that they're actually doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, like providing garbage cans and stuff like that. The other things are making sure that they're providing restrooms for people, including information that about other permits that they might need. Some people might not know that if they have a tent over 20 by 20, they need a tent permit and how to get that and whatnot. Food, we put that in there to make sure that any time that there's a public event, the food vendors know the safe way to prepare the food, especially if it's outside. There's other things as well. The biggest difference in this one is the emergency plan. We really didn't have anything in any of the previous permits asking about an emergency plan for any of the events. So some of these, for events with less than 250 estimated attendance, will fill out this basic question. Will there be an EMT or first aid station? If yes, what location? Anything over that, we actually provided an addendum that you'll see on the last couple of pages, addendum 3. And this is just a template for them to fill out information that our emergency services would like to know for any event.
So as you can see, it's a pretty detailed application. It is free, but it allows us to properly communicate all of these events. We do, just for a frame of reference, last year we did approve 53 of these permits, and then 62 of them in 2016 and 60 in 2015. So there are a fair amount of event requests that we get here at the village. And for example, one of those permits is for the 14 cruise nights that we have, or one is for the 8 concerts, or one is for the 20 plus farmers market events that we have. So,
Okay, that was my next question. 14 people times going south, it's just one for.
yeah, one permit
Okay.
for all the entire series, if you will. So,
I like the insurance on here. It's always good to know.
yeah. So we just wanted you to be aware of that process that is going on in the village, so you know that, and you also know about the fees and the waivers.
So it's everything staying the same as the ordinance that was previously adopted, you're just.
Yes, yes.
Making us
This is
aware
more
of
for
it.
just communication and education purposes, so you know that this is out there and are aware, in case you're asked when you're out in the community or whatever. And, obviously, the more people we have, that if somebody is aware of something and they point them toward the website to fill out the permit application, just makes us more efficient in our jobs and, allows everybody to kind of have a handle on what's going on.
Everyone knows what to expect. I like it.
That's that.
Also like the cruise night on closing the entire Oak Park, just as a side note.
Well, I saw that,
It was
yeah.
only half the street. I feel much safer now.
Well, let's see.
Spread out all
Let's
over.
see how the traffic gets around it.
I know.
It still remains to be seen. Should be entertaining.
When the train comes. All right, Does that need to go for any votes or?
No, I just wanted to bring it.
It's for
you,
informational
just so for
purposes.
informational
I like it.
purposes.
Thank you so much, Tom. We'll move on to item number 7. Discuss bonding transfer to Will Kankakee Regional Airport, Regional Development Authority. Airport. I wish. So this is something we do every year?
This is something that we do every year. The state of Illinois allocates $105 for a bonding allocation per your population. So at our population being 56,703, we get about $5.9 million. And what we can do with that is reallocate it to WKRDA, and what they can do is actually issue double exempt bonds. So if a project comes through, they can issue the bond to them, they can go out and sell the bond, and then the proceeds that come through are actually double tax exempt. So it's a pretty good deal to try to find some low rate financing for some of these projects. In the past, it was actually used here in Tinley Park for Atlas Putty Products. They did a 45,000 square foot facility on a $2.9 million bond, and it created 45 jobs. So it is a good tool that we can use, and we actually know Andy Hamilton. I've known him from the past as well. The director of this. We did the similar thing down in Decatur, Illinois. So it's something that we do every single year. We reallocate the bonds. If we don't, they just go back to the state, and then the state can do it themselves.
So if we don't use them, we've given to somebody else who may way down the road, give them to us.
Yes.
If we need them.
Yes,
But we
exactly.
don't have anybody in the hopper to
No.
allocate to.
Not currently, no.
All right.
So we're just seeking direction and making a recommendation that this would be up for vote on May 1st.
So to move it to the board?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any more comments, Michael?
That and that, no, thanks.
Anybody from the public care to comment? All right.
I think we did this twice in the past since I've been here.
I'd like to make a motion to close the Economic Development and Marketing Committee meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Want to move up to the other one, just because there's people who would probably be at the podium and they would be training our necks. Let's pass on one.
Once I come down here, I make gym shoes on. There's my phone ringing. It's nicer down there. My first meeting was like that. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Where's mine?
Main page.
I'd like to call the Administrative and Legal Committee to order. Roll call, Commissioner Panito here.
Trustee Berg here, present.
Let the record show it's 1 minute to 7. I'd like to discuss Section 2.9 of the Personnel Manual pertaining to employment of relatives. Patrick, do you want to address us on that?
Oh, sure, sorry, we got the wrong agenda, we don't have minutes. Sure, so this has been, we've had this in committee here for a little bit now. If you recall, this is a section of your personnel manual that discouraged the direct supervision of relatives. At our last meeting, we had some direction to go back and work on it a little bit more, clarify it. So we have before you tonight, I think what encapsulated what your direction was, 2 main changes. So one, we have, we defined a little bit more clearly that it was going to be direct supervision, meaning that, for example, a department head or, we'll just use the village manager. Technically, I guess he would supervise the entire village. For example, if he or she had a relative here, that would not be a direct supervision. So, so that's one aspect of it. It has to be that direct, one-on-one supervisory role. 2, it's immediate family members. We have that definition in there as well. And then finally, we gave a waiver clause in there based on recommendation of the manager and the vote of the board. We could waive that provision as well. So I'm hoping that we defined it a little more clearly, and also for a special circumstance, if one arises, we've provided a waiver for the full board to consider. That's it.
My recollection last time it was up, the major change was you changed it from discouraged the employment of relatives to prohibits the
Correct.
employment of relatives. And you defined what family members mean, and it's a pretty broad net that it captures. In addition, it looks like you make an allowance for what we discussed at the last meeting, was like if a firefighter family, you know what I mean, multi-generational groups, if they're, one's on the ladder and the other's holding it, that we can make an exception under those
Yeah.
special circumstances.
One would have to be direct supervisory,
Yeah.
which limits it a little bit more. And that's
Right.
really what you want to get after, because that doesn't make sense for anybody. Again,
We want the
there could be
best, the
some
best
exceptions.
people doing the job, and sometimes family members, nepotism's not what you want.
and it puts everybody in an awkward spot.
Right.
You wouldn't want to be the direct supervisor of your, immediate family member, and it just doesn't work out that way. But
Yeah.
it allows for, there could be special exceptions, like you said, a firefighting family, something like that, police family. So it's there. We hopefully defined it a little clearly. I think we caught what you guys were looking for, hopefully. And if we're ready for it, we'll move it to the full board if you so choose.
I think it's a pretty decent
I think it's
ordinance,
good.
yeah.
I like it. The thing about it, most occupations, you're not allowed to even work together if you're side by side.
Right.
So this is pretty generous, I feel.
Well, I think certain circumstances, though, it can be good,
Yeah.
father and son, police officer, those
I think
family
that
traditions.
is exactly the way
Follow
it is
your
good.
family into something, right. Very good.
So-
Do I have a motion to move it to the board?
Motion to move to the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should I say all in favor? Does it matter?
You probably should.
You say-
All in favor?
We get the
Aye.
point.
Aye.
There you go. Motion
Dis-
carries.
Motion carries. Discuss 2017 codification ordinance.
Yeah.
This is just
Yeah.
our yearly codification of the ordinances.
Right.
Once you approve them, we'll
All the ordinances we've done over the years, this just puts them on the American,
update the
yeah, okay, very good.
Just a little housekeeping.
Do I have a motion to adopt 2017 codification ordinance, or not adopt it, I guess move it to the full board?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, or all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Discuss adding one Class A liquor license for 350 Brewing Company.
I'll take that.
That's you?
Rob's in Italy, so,
Oh, is he?
yes, he is. But Rob put together this memo for 350 Brewing Company, and what they're looking for is a Class A liquor license. They currently have a Class O liquor license, and what they want to do is expand their products that they offer for sale, including cider, wines, as well as a Bloody Mary bar and mimosas. I believe we discussed this a little while back. The Class A liquor license they're applying for will allow them to sell all types of alcoholic liquor for consumption on the premise as well as consumption off premise, provided these products are sealed in their original containers when they leave the premise. Owners of 350 Brewing Company have stated that this license will allow them to sell the types of alcohol that they are being requested by their customers. The owners of 350 Brewing Company have stated that they are not looking to become a typical bar atmosphere that sells shots of liquor, etc., but they are looking to maintain their current dynamic of a local craft brewery, simply with an expanded drink menu to address the different types of customers that they currently have. 350 Brewing Company will be retaining their Class O liquor license in addition to the Class A liquor license. 350 Brewing Company is in good standing with the Village of Tinley Park.
Thank you, Pat.
So we're asking to bring this to the board to get it
Increase.
approved.
Yep. You'll be increasing the number of Class A licenses.
And I believe we have a
Right, and
number.
To add a license, you have to,
Would you
now
like
that
to-
old license isn't going back, that old license will stay out,
Correct.
but we're extending an A license to this same,
I think you'll,
so they'll have two licenses?
yeah, you'll need two still to operate, right?
Yeah, still brew beer, and then it breaks out of the gluten-free thing with cider and wine, like right now. You just don't have an option for those people, and over the years, we've seen that as, an issue. And we get a lot of calls every week of, do you have anything besides beer? And, it's always no, so we're definitely losing people there. And with the concert season and all that coming up, it's kind of a big deal for us. And, yeah, like, we're not looking to, like you said, do like shots and $2 bottles of beer, but we want to start doing a brunch on Sundays, and
Right.
so we have mimosa and Bloody Marys and things. So-
Well, those are my questions. I like your business model. I like what you've got set up out there. I would have decorated it without the chain link fence, but otherwise, it's a, well thought of place. Everybody likes it. My big thing is, I get that certain people aren't gonna want beer, and you wanna give them an option. I just wonder if it's gonna, if it's gonna turn your business into something that it wasn't before, you know what I mean? That you're gonna turn into a shot in a beer place and not, is there a way to limit that? I mean, Pat, is there anything we can do about that? So that if he does turn into like a full-out bar, because I don't want him to change who they are, the character of the place and that kind of stuff, but once you give a license,
Yeah.
you give a license.
Yeah, they're entitled to,
And I could see
To
everybody
sell under
wanting
that
it too, all the
license.
other brew pubs wanting to have it for the same reasons you want to have it.
Yeah, there's different things with it too, though. The other breweries won't want to take on. If we do get it, we won't be allowed to self-distribute our own beer. So that's a big thing with breweries, and for us, we don't really self-distribute at all, so it makes a lot of sense for us. And we're actually working on a second brewery, a production brewery in Tinley Park right now, on 185th and 76th Avenue. So it's under construction, and we'll hire a distributor to distribute our beer, so that wouldn't affect us.
Well, that's a different license, right, that you can
Yeah,
brew
so
and distribute?
once you become like a,
Do you have that license now, that license to brew and distribute, or?
yeah, we
Okay.
can self-distribute right now. We do a little bit, but if you want to offer other products, you have to give up that right to self-distribute your beer, and you have to hire a distributor. No one wants to do that because you lose 30% on your margins for a distributor. That's what I mean, like, not every brewery wants to do this. We're more of a come in, have fun, bring your husband, bring your wife. Sometimes the husband doesn't drink beer, they want wine or
Right.
cider. And like I said, it's more of like even like I said, the gluten-free, I have a lot of family members that cider and wine are both gluten-free, and they want to come hang out, but they can't, so we're kind of like denying people a good time. They want to come at 350, but they can't right now.
Well, they could share in the enjoyment of the other person if they're able to have their
Yeah.
drink of choice.
Exactly.
I get that. I'm just a little nervous that it may turn into like more of a bar than a brew pub
Yeah. Yeah, it's
with
definitely
some
not
other
our
options.
vibe, Yeah.
Yeah, I almost wonder if we should look at some kind of hybrid license because it's gonna be you, and then, how many brew pubs do we have in town, like 5?
growing.
Yeah. It's,
Are you concerned the martinis will be in place instead of mimosas?
well, it could happen. I mean, once you give
Yeah.
that Class A, you
I
can't
can
take it
understand
back.
brunch, mimosas, and bloodies, but then you open up the vodka can of worms, and then you turn to other things.
I mean, if that's all you're looking for, I wonder if there's not a way to give you that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without the full-blown. Patrick, has anybody looked into that, or?
We haven't discussed that, but we could discuss it. The clientele, I mean, they draw their own clientele, as most of the breweries do. So
For
I
now,
think they're gonna keep that, because we have a very, very good selection of bars in town that a lot of people go to, so,
Does the-
350 regardless, I think, of that addition, as he said, and I've traveled to various brew pubs around, you'll have people that just want another selection of
Right,
something.
right.
So your main draw is gonna be this crowd.
And I've got no problem
so-
giving them another selection. I think that's a nice idea. It helps the business, and it's a good thing. I'm just a little nervous if it doesn't turn it into a different business. You
Yeah,
know
we
what I'm saying?
we could check into it, to
If,
see if
if,
there's.
if the business were sold down the road, would the Class A go with it?
No.
So they've got to come, whoever bought it would have to come back and say, so we'd have a
Reapply
little
or
control
use their
over
own.
Right.
who and what goes in there.
Yeah, we definitely want to sell our beer first, that's how we make our money, so we're still gonna be pushing that.
And that's who you are.
It's just something- Yeah.
Yeah, I just-
Yeah, it's never gonna change how we
Right.
do business, but,
And it's a
Nice.
cool business that fits the community.
yeah.
I'm afraid it might warp into a, bar, and it's just,
Yeah, I think we got enough of those around here. So, we want to stay the same way, and yeah.
Do you have any
Just
thoughts
a
on
couple
it?
more
Well, just
products.
the brunch, are you planning on serving food? A Sunday brunch only, one day a week, is this?
Yeah,
Bloody
we have
Mary,
food
mimosa?
already. Yeah, we have a full menu, restaurant there.
If it was just the Sunday Bloody Marys, I'd be all, no problem.
Yeah.
It's a full-blown Class A, though. That's a little,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
we're increasing the
yeah.
number of liquor licenses, really.
Yeah, I understand that. But I mean, I don't know if there's another way that
Well, another way would be make a hybrid, make a Class O plus. You know, you could sell beer plus other options for, you know, people who come in. It's just, where do you limit it? You'd have a full bar, you know, because some people are gonna want Manhattan, you know. Some people are gonna want a Bloody Mary or
That would be me.
cider.
yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. Do you wanna, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think their main business will be the craft beer, and it's been doing well. And I don't think you're gonna sabotage your own business by, you know, having all this extra alcohol in there. But I don't know how you could, once we give it, it's not gonna be limited, it's gonna be,
Can we-
if you want someone that's gonna want Jack on
Can
the
we
rocks or
condition
something.
it on
Well,
keeping
what
the?
is it that you want to limit exactly? What is it that you're worried
Yeah,
about?
we don't have the room for.
Well, I'm worried about him changing his business model.
But is it spirits, you know, is it hard liquor? I mean, is that?
Cider
like,
and
what
beer
is it?
kind of go hand in hand.
Well, if you're asking to say, I want Bloody Marys and cider, that's something, one thing. Hard liquor and everything else is the other. Of course, hard liquor goes into Bloody Marys.
Right, so that's what makes it
Yeah.
kind of
Caveat,
difficult,
yeah.
I mean.
Right.
Or maybe put in there like a clause like no shots and no, you know, that kind of thing.
But then we're
We do, like,
changing our
craft
whole-
Cocktails.
Yeah.
Wine, cider.
Then we're changing our thing, but, I mean, we could add a different type of license. We got 20 different types.
We could look at it, but, you know, then you're gonna get somebody in there that does wanna be able to, well, somebody does wanna order a shot, and then they may want that, or, you know, when you say no hard liquor, there you go, then you can't have a Bloody Mary, you
Right,
can't, you know.
that's it.
I mean, I think the request is for an A, and,
Oh, no, the request is for an A, but he's asking for an A, but what he's really asking for is Bloody Marys, cider, and that type of thing to go with his Sunday brunches and the rest. The only thing that would cover that is an A, but that gives you more than what he's asking for. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do, I really have to look at how you limit that to just Bloody Marys, I mean, that's,
You can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting a very,
Unless-
very,
unless you
very
create a hybrid
specific.
license.
I mean, you're getting a very, very specific license if you're going to limit somebody to only a Bloody Mary. So, when you're mixing in hard alcohol, it's, you know.
So it seems to me our choices are give him the A the way he's asking for it now, see how it goes, and we could always,
And we can get, we can look at it.
but we won't be able to pull this one back, but for the next person who comes down the road, we'll see if there's any problems or issues with it.
Yeah, but if we were to create a new hybrid license or something, and that really falls into their model, you can move it back. You know, that happens a lot.
Not to mention, you're gonna have to have a bartender to make all these drinks, it's not like beer. So
Yeah, but
labor's
wine-
more involved for you, so
Yeah.
I can't see,
Yeah, wine
Both
is
sides.
You can get that on tap, so that'd be a tap too.
It's
Cider's
simpler.
tap. And then, if like, say, like I said, Moscow mules they have small little ginger beer
Like
things.
it's Moscow
you put-
Mule, you know.
Yeah, Moscow
Cop-
Mule.
need a
Bloody
copper
Marys.
cup.
He wants
for
hard
that,
liquor,
though,
I mean,
so.
it's, you know.
Yeah, like,
It is what it
like I
is.
said, like craft cocktails, not like a Jack and Coke or, you know,
Yeah.
shots of Fireball.
It's hard to limit. I
or,
mean, it's hard, it's kind of hard liquor or not. I mean,
Exactly.
It's a little
Like-
bit pricier.
We don't want to be listing the kinds of drinks. I mean, we would go crazy trying to list them.
probably, yeah.
We all volunteer to go in and monitor it. so We need to do that.
Well, I'm okay with the A. I mean, I don't really see how he's gonna go around it, and, you know, like I said, everything else is gonna be maintenance for you.
I'm just a little concerned about other people going forward, however, I like your business, I've heard nothing but good things. I'd like, you know, I suspect you're gonna act responsibly with it, and that's what you're hoping for from any business, is
Yeah.
that they're gonna use their license well, so. What do you need, a motion to move it up?
Yep.
So move, or, do I have a motion to move it up?
So move.
Second.
Oh.
All in favor?
Aye. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Number 5, discuss amending Class J liquor license ordinance, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I can take this one, Pat. So, we've been working with the mayor's office on this one. I know there's some representatives from the amphitheater here tonight who could probably put a little more color into what the plan is. But essentially, the amphitheater approached the village. What they would like to do is, currently there's a prohibition on any sales of alcohol in the grass area. I think everybody knows what that means as far as the amphitheater is concerned. What they would like to do is set up concessions in the grass area. So it would be, I don't know exactly how it would look or anything like that. They might be able to tell you a little bit more. But my guess would be at the top of the hill, some semi-permanent stations where alcohol could be purchased. We would still, the direction that we received from the mayor's office was, would also be to keep the prohibition on, vendor sales, meaning, like if you're at a ball game, the guys that walk around with the beer, you wouldn't have that, but it would be a place, on the grass area. My guess would be at the top. We'll probably hear a little bit more from the amphitheater folks on that, but some semi-permanent spaces to sell alcohol. Is that pretty much, okay, you guys want to come up maybe? You guys will probably give a little more color to the idea.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Rob Anderson. I'm an attorney for Legends, the license holder.
Tom Geringer, District Manager for Legends.
Mr. Conley is correct. The general plan would be to set up some semi-permanent tent structures near the top of the hill, which would act as concessions areas for anyone who is in the amphitheater to go purchase alcohol from. We are aware there would not be the mobile vendors, the hawking that's listed in the code already as it exists. We would be seeking to do this for customer convenience, so that people who are on the lawn aren't having to go to further away from their areas. Also, it would be helpful in terms of a crowd control situation. Currently, all the concessions are located in one space. People coming from the lawn go up to that space, as well as people in the general seats. This would help spread people out a little bit more. We haven't had any issues with that, but it would just be sort of an added benefit to that area. It would be, I believe, tents that would be put up towards the top that would have general concessions for alcohol and some water and prepackaged foods of that nature.
So beer and wine? Back to that story? Beer, wine, and hard alcohol in the tents?
Yeah, it would be the full offerings that are allowed. Under
Everything
the
that's down on the bottom ones? One beer at a time, one drink at a time?
Yeah, it would be the same. The procedures would all be the same as under the existing code in terms of sales, as well as our internal policies, such as if we find someone who's not following those rules, they're terminated and walked off the site. It would all be the same exact policies, same exact procedures. It would just be a secondary location where those sales could occur.
I like the idea, but I do not like the parking lot. Is there any possibility that we can make a deal and pave that east side on Ridgeland?
I don't have any information about that. I only handle liquor licensing matters. That would be something I'd have to take back to my client to speak with them about.
I've got a couple questions. Does anybody else have this in the lawn like that? Any other, like Alpine Valley or those types of places where they're selling liquor in the lawn?
Yes, they do.
Which ones?
Which ones?
Alpine Valley, Northerly Island. That's directly here in Illinois, and then there's other in other states around the surrounding area as well.
And you guys, Live Nation, you guys
Yes.
run all those, correct?
We're with Legends.
Legends acts as the concessionaire for Live Nation, who runs the event portion.
So you guys are in Northerly, you're at Alpine Valley.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So we do have experience running these type of facilities.
Are any of those as sloped as the lawn in Tinley? It's pretty sloped out there.
Alpine Valley is actually a larger slope.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't been.
You haven't been there in a
out
while?
I haven't been anywhere in a while. So if somebody's sitting in the front of the lawn, they'll have to get up and go to the back to get their beer?
So currently, if someone's all the way at the front of the slope, they would have to get up, go all the way back to where the existing concession stands are, and then come all the way back.
So they're gonna walk across the lawn to get to where they're going?
They're free to walk throughout the facility,
Yeah.
so the new location would be in the back of the lawn.
Would you keep the current area as
Yes.
is? There's no plans to change that?
Correct.
And that's behind the music stage where they're selling beer and T-shirts and that kind of stuff?
It is
Off to the
technically, sort of
sides.
it's in front of the stage. It's the top of the hill faces the stage.
How many yards further do they have to go to get to the downstairs out of the crowd area to get beer versus going through the crowd up to get beer?
I've never measured it, sir. I'm not sure.
I unfortunately don't have that information either.
Yeah. I personally see more headaches, more trouble. I've heard stories of rain and mud and people slopping around and falling. Make it, I mean, I get it, more convenient and you want your patrons to be happy and have convenience, but I see more convenient to get beer means you're gonna drink more, and it gets, from what I hear, kind of crazy out there sometimes. I could see people walking to get their beer through the field of other bodies, you know, and I've heard there's been mosh pits out there and potentially blocking somebody's view and trouble starting. I mean, that's my own personal view, you know, I don't know how it's gonna work or what the shows are gonna be, but, you know, it's a large crowd, and it's not necessarily controlled in a single area. It's out there in the lawn, it's open, there's all, you know, anything could happen out there. And, you know, if people are handling money out there, that might be a problem too, whereas opposed to one central flat level area that's not in the crowd.
If I could address one
You can.
issue to that concern.
Sure.
These, the tent areas that would be put up, I believe it would be the intention to pour concrete pads where they would be going, so this wouldn't be people who are going to be walking up and standing on grass or mud when they're making their purchases and items of that nature. We do have security in the auditorium, or in the amphitheater, that does sort of make sure if there's any issues that are going on, that they're taking care of them. We do have dedicated alcohol monitors who move around the facility to make sure if there are any concerns about people who seem to be causing a problem or anything, they can check to see if there's someone who maybe shouldn't be purchasing alcohol anymore or anything like that. And under the existing code, people can walk, or under the existing locations, people can walk up through the lawn area or go to the areas to get their concessions already. And I believe we have good policies and procedures in place to control those issues, and we would keep those in place. And we feel, based on our experience at the other locations that have similar setups, that we would be a responsible operator and we could keep
How
control.
long have they had them at the other places?
Legends has had this contract for 3 years, 3 seasons now. Before that, it was Aramark.
Have they had the on the lawn
Yes, sir.
beer concessions for all 3 years?
Yes, sir.
I still think it's more headaches than it's worth. I think the World Music Theater's been there for 20 years. They seem to be doing okay. That's my own personal view. Nothing against you guys or your business. And just I could see somebody getting hurt out there, or, you know, getting too drunk and sliding down a hill, or somebody blocking somebody's view when a fight started. But that's my opinion.
Well, I can say, under your code, you guys do have authority over the licenses.
Well, they've got a
Believe we would be,
very, I read the code. It's very well thought out, very,
Yeah.
you know, and my thoughts of stadiums and ball fields and that kind of stuff is the liquor's always away from the game, except for like the guys that are walking around, but you're going someplace to get it. I get that you don't want to not see the show for a while, you know, maybe put screens near the beer tents, but to me, I just see trouble. So I'm a no.
I'm a yes. I feel we're losing concerts to Wrigley Field and other outdoor venues, and what's it, Cricket Hill. People are just randomly throwing concerts everywhere in Chicago, and they're not really. When we went our music theater full, and the lines are long. There's strict rules. I've seen people arrested for underage drinking in there, in our police blotter as well. Also, we had fights in the parking lot. They weren't in the stand last year. I believe there were 2 altercations and the egress of the stadium itself, and it had nothing to do with the inside.
I think you have very good points. I myself would, and I think a lot of people would rather go to a safe, calm, peaceful place, and I don't think that's
Yeah, I like
gonna
that too.
contribute to
I'm
it.
old. I like to sit in the bar and the seats there. I do. I would never sit on the lawn. I cannot. And what about the bar area with all the seating? That's VIP only, I understand?
So under the J license, there are those VIP areas that we have the licenses for there, and then the concessions is for the remainder of the auditorium under the I.
And in full disclosure, it's been a long time since I've been there, I apologize. So maybe I don't have it all, but that's my
I went to a
view.
show last year and the year before. I do try to frequent as much as possible. I do like to go to show in my neighborhood.
We appreciate that.
Do you gentlemen have like a sketch of what it'll look like or how it's?
There haven't been any formal plans put together yet because we were seeing what the village's level of interest is. We could potentially put something together if that would be useful to the community.
I'm one of 5, and you just gotta convince 4.
And the other thought that I had, because what about, one of the things I know that came from the mayor's office was part of the memo is that I think the idea is to, well, at least the mayor's office wanted was to, if the board is inclined to look at this, to monitor it throughout the concert season, and if it's not working, have the ability to
Repeal it,
stop it,
take it back.
stop it after 1 year. I think that was, 'cause I think you bring up a good point, Trustee Panito, it's worked well out there for 20 years, and if it's not working, it creates problems. I mean, I know that was, again, it's in your memo and it's part of it that they want it monitored, how it's going, I guess, one question I have, how are the lines gonna look? Like, is it gonna queue up pretty big there? I mean, is it gonna be huge lines there now? I mean, if you guys, I'm sure you guys have thought of that, it's your business, but, I think things like that.
A line could interview with the, concert.
Yeah,
boards.
and again, they know the business, I'm
Pleasure,
sure.
and I could see them getting angry, it's something like that. You're blocking my view,
So maybe a sketch would help, something along those lines, but I know that is part of it, if the board is inclined to look at this, that it is something that the mayor's office wants monitored, and maybe even, if there is an approval part of, at the end of the season or the midway point, bring it to board or bring it to committee and see how this is going, maybe from some of the officers that we have in there, get reports from them or something like
A
that.
sketch would be helpful for me. I mean, right now, I'm thinking it's more trouble than it's worth, but I could see.
And
people
we
get
can put
blocked,
together
people
a
sliding
sketch
down
and then
the
some
hill.
information, as
Yeah.
Mr. Conley was discussing about how the lines would operate and things of that nature as well.
Just the way I visualize the place, I can't see it working out well, but it's, again, been some years since I was there.
So I think there's, a lot of, I think there's some homework left to do,
A lot,
I think we'd
mhm.
say. Do you want to move this to the board? Do you want to keep it here? What's your guys' timeframe on this? What's the thought? I mean, I'm sure concert season
It would
is
be
here.
obviously be our preference to have this approved and be able to try and get it done as early into the concert season as possible, but we want to make sure the village is comfortable, so we would,
Well, we got a split here, so I don't think it moves up now. You need a quorum. I guess they could do it on the committee of the whole, but that's,
Well, how do you guys want? I mean, do you want to see the sketches? Do you want to
Yeah,
do
I
that?
think we need to do a little more homework before.
Do you want to bring it to a committee of the whole? Do you want to keep it here?
I'd like to see how it's gonna lay out.
I'd like to see
and
the sketches.
It's like
I don't know that
at the
it's gonna
top
change
and the
my mind.
queues along the
And you know what?
perimeter
We
somehow,
actually have a
not
meeting
blocking the
next Tuesday,
view.
Same committee.
There's
Look
a lot
at
of
that.
variables.
Look at that.
Whatever stops.
How, for these sketches, if that's what the committee wanted, I think we actually meet next Tuesday, this committee, right, Mark? Yeah, so is that
I-
something you guys can get here?
I can reach out to the client at the corporate offices to see how quickly they could get something put together. And then we can be in contact with whoever the appropriate person would be to confirm whether we would have that for the next meeting or not.
My
So-
concerns are blocking other people,
Mhm.
stepping over people.
Right.
Falling down the hill, just too much access to liquor inside of there. So those,
Mhm.
just so they know when they're trying to put their design together, but I don't know if that's what everybody else is thinking.
Mhm.
I think liquor consumption is probably different at each concert that you have also, and,
Mhm.
Maybe some should have liquor.
If you want to get those sketches and send them to me, and then I'll forward them.
I can do that. So that would be next week, Tuesday is the next meeting of this committee?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you could get those tomorrow to me.
Yeah, I'll see how quickly we can get it done, and if we don't think it's going to be tomorrow, we can discuss when the next appropriate time for the meeting would be.
So I think you can take it until May 1st, and if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Fair enough. Is that what you want, Cindy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just send to me, and then I'll distribute them.
Okay.
If you want to get back to the committee with whatever drawings you've got, we'll certainly look at them.
We can do that, and if for some reason we're not going to be able to get them in that time frame, I'll be sure to inform staff, and we can request a continuance to whatever the following meeting would be.
Right.
Fair enough.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
And that is the last item of business. Receive comments from the public? Let the record reflect no one wishes to address the Administrative and Legal Committee. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. Easy breezy. Questions? We got difference of opinion on that, huh?
Well, it's all, we're just looking at everything.
No, I